estate agent in London, the demand for applicants and the demand for property is high, and we know that the game of buy-to-let is a long-term strategy. It's not a quick fix, it is long-term. We have a social housing crisis in Scotland, Wales and in England, okay, and the demand for the private rental sector and for private landlords is needed more than ever. And unfortunately, on the way, you landlords have become social workers. Is that fair enough to say? I always get a laugh when I mention that. You become social workers, and a lot has been put at your feet. And then also, some of you might recognise me from the television programme I do on Nightmare Tenants, Slum Landlords on Channel 5. Has any of you ever seen it? Put your hands up. A couple of people. If you watch it, for your hands up. Oh my God. Most landlords do. I mean, I've been doing media for 20 years. And I started Landlord Action in 2000. My background was legal. I actually left school with no qualifications. I worked in the recession in 87, 88 and ended up doing mortgage repossessions. Anyone remember the times when the interest rates were 15%? Put your hands up. Oh, see, we've got some more mature people in the audience. If you say 15% to a landlord that's become a landlord in 5 years, he thinks you're an alien. 15% you got through those times. And now landlords don't realise how good they have it with the interest rate at such a low, we believe the interest rate's going to go up to 0.25% maybe by the end of the year, but money is very cheap, And one thing that I do say to landlords, and I've been doing public speaking for 20 years, is it is a tough job, and it's quite a siloed job, but it can be really, really rewarding, You're not going to get pats on the back by the press and by Shelter, we know that, okay? But what we try and do is, one of the brands that I run as well is, has any of you heard of a website called Landlord Zone? Yes. Yeah, so I run Landlord Zone, so that's one of our things. So what I would say to you is join a website called Landlord Zone. It doesn't cost you a penny. We do breaking news information on a daily basis. We have 120,000 landlords. We have a really great editor called Nigel Lewis that runs it. And I decided to do a section called Landlord Hero through the midst of COVID. And we were hearing some amazing stories of landlords giving rent-free periods. Let's be clear that the worst affected landlords during COVID were going to be commercial landlords. That was always going to be in place. Yes, student landlords got hit. The guaranteed rent-to-rent market got hit as well. But also it has created opportunities. I know a lot of big funds that are looking to get back into the marketplace. Next year, reality-wise, things are going to go harden, the interest rate's going to go up, inflation's going to go up, cost of living's going to go up. But there are so many landlords that are looking to get into the market. But there are also a lot of landlords looking to exit the market. With Landlord Action, we don't trade in Scotland. I was saying to the lady before, I wanted to sell a franchise of Landlord Action in Scotland. We do 1,500 cases a year, 1,500 eviction cases a year. I have 17 staff that work for me just at Landlord Action. And the split that we have is Section 8, which is the rent arrears and breach of tenancy, is 65%. 35% is Section 21. Now, your equivalent of Section 21 when, and obviously you have overrended tenancies. We're at the stage in England where the biggest change in England is going to be a little bit.
So that's it, guys, we're off. The future of private landlords in Scotland, that's what it's down to really. We've got experts on the panel. John Blackwood from the Scottish Association of Landlords is going to be here. Paul Shamplina you can see there as well from Hamilton Fraser and Mydeposits, Scotland. And then also you've got Richards on the panel as well to talk about letting agents' experience. I'm a private landlord investor and I'm talking about my experience. And then we've got a Minister on as well, Patrick Harvie. He's coming on the panel later on. And he's the Minister for also tenant rights. So it'll be interesting to get that perspective from him, and also kind of probably to educate him a wee bit more about what the plight of the private landlord is. We're a minority group. We're often the whipping boy, and we're caught in the middle for everybody, for the tenants and for the government. And it's not easy being a private landlord. Most landlords privately own 2 or 3 properties. We don't all run about in Ferraris. That's the reality. We make a good living, we look after our tenants, We invest in our properties for the welfare of our tenants, provide a good service, and we get an adequate return in response to that. And if I've got any other opportunities later on to interview anyone, I'll come back on. And that's me for now from Fife Properties TV.